All right. So off schedule a little bit. It is not Saturday at noon, but since I wasn't able to do a stream this last Saturday at noon due to being at ReaperCon, I've got a little bit of catch up to do. So don't mind the mess. You can see on the big screen here, well, maybe you can't see it all, but there are a lot of miniatures that are prepped up and ready to go. And these here are all just some Bones 5 miniatures. This is the Townsfolk group. So initially I had a lot of different ideas on what I wanted to do with these. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with them. I had a lot of ideas that were running through my head. I thought about depending on which campaign I would use them in the most, I could have them be representatives of a region where they have lots of fine wools and the kind of like epicenter or where they dye fabrics from. So I thought about utilizing these rich colors for the different fabrics of all of these villagers. One of the other campaigns I have is very like regionally set by color. So classes, not like D&D classes, the clerics, fighters, etc., but economical classes are all sorted by the colors they wear because they can only afford certain things. So grays and reds. And color scheme wise, it works really well. I have a couple of miniatures that I utilize for such occasions, but those are mostly important NPCs. The more I thought about it, the more I want the majority of these just to be common NPCs that I can use on any of my tabletop games anywhere I want. And so process wise, I just went through and with the airbrush I just gave them a complete undercoat of linen white. Now I didn't do a zenithal painting because I want these to read fairly light in color, and I decided I'm going to go mostly browns and tans. And because I'm going to go mostly with these light colors, I want to really make sure that the colors themselves aren't over muted. So that's my goal. Even though we're using muted colors, I want these colors to be more vibrant and easy to read on the table. So that's the thought process: tans, browns, and then offset that with a good complementary color of a deep blue. So that's the aspect we're going to go to. Before we get to any of that state though, we need to start with some skin tones. And because these are just for tabletop, I'm not going to go anything super deep. I'm going to be using the Reaper Rosy Skin Triad to start, just because they don't need a whole lot of detail for these tabletop minis. So we're going to do just a triad. We'll do rosy skin and then a blend of the rosy skin and rosy shadow. And then, yeah, just working progressively lighter and lighter up to our rosy highlight directly. So that's the thought process. I don't know if I'm going to stream the whole time I'm painting here, but like I said, I thought it was high time I get back on and did a little bit of paint, moving on some miniatures. Use a little bit of an older brush here just so I can move kind of fast through these miniatures. We'll pop a couple of them up here. And yeah, just paint. I have got my AirPods in, so listening to some music. That way I can just have the time go by nice and quick. And just some down and dirty painting. This is just direct rose skin shadow. That brush nice and clean. just want to get some paint on these figures so that we can start getting them completed. A little more off my pile of shame and actually utilizing them on the tabletop. One of my most recent sessions, I had to utilize dice for NPCs because the NPCs were being chased around by some undead, and it was hard to articulate to my players that these are people that need rescuing, and I was kind of hoping to divide the party a little bit, have a little more challenge to them, but I don't know if it's because the players were just reading them as dice or what, but they lost quite a few NPCs. So there will be some in-game consequences, of course. They will be kind of snide at for letting some of the peaceful villagers die. But I'm not going to penalize them too much. Just because I try to be a softer GM, I want to encourage them to learn and grow from the experiences at the tabletop without penalizing them. Oh, I got that on cross-threaded. There we go. And let's see, some of the equipment I'm using today, I've got two handles going. Of course, this is my Game Envy, and then a Jacosi, which I like. It's nice and magnetic. This Game Envy one, and they both have their pros and cons. This one I like that you can change things out quick and easy. It is comfortable in the hand. You can use pop bottles for it, just with regular 20-ounce and 2-liter bottle tops, and it works really, really well. The other, of course, being magnetic, it also switches quick and easy, and you can break it down so you can have multiple handles. Not quite as adjustable, I would say, for that finger rest, but really fast and easy to swap out. Boy, this guy has got a Mo haircut going on like crazy. You may have to paint him up as Mo. Just get that dark black hair, and well, he had a little bit of a knife though. So your PCs better not treat him like a stooge. He'll go after him a little bit. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to these miniatures as I was prepping them out, so it makes me wonder if there's a Larry and Curly in there. I don't know. Old lady. So I wanted to use the Rosy Triad for this because I want these figures to, I generally don't do rosy skin tones as I paint my miniatures that my players use at the table. So this will make them seem a little more differentiated on the table. And I'm kind of hoping a little bit more I don't want to say frail, alive, maybe. I don't know. I think with that rosy skin tone, I'm hoping for a, not just a fair complexion, but I want them to seem a little bit more full of blood and could be in danger quick and easy. So we'll see if it pays off or not. Thought about doing multi-skin tones, but again, for me, this is just super generic. I want to hit out as many of these in one fell swoop as I can. So I am not on this batch doing different skin tones. My goal is to do a lot more different skin tones on my next batch because I've got 3 of these to paint. So do a little more ethnic coloring on those ones and see how they go. Challenge with these handles when you're doing something like this, and I would imagine if you're doing army painting as well, is having to switch it out so often. That's why I was glad I got some of the miniatures just mounted onto bottles. These are the new super washes that I got in my VIP box, or my swag box that I bought at the end. Really nice value. I did the bundle and got both of the boxes so that I could get all of the goodies. I did see on Reaper that they do have those swag bundles up on the website. Saw someone post that they were sold out, but that they were making more. I believe that was Reaper John who posted that. So if you're interested in getting one of those, watch for those to be restocked online. Get one as a gift for somebody. Now, Reaper is not a sponsor of mine, so when I tell you that I enjoy their products, you can rest assured that it is because I really enjoy their products and not because I'm being paid to say that. Customer service is fantastic. Community really is the biggest thing with Reaper. If you're into the hobby at all, for miniature painting especially, but also just geek culture in general, gaming, anything like that, I really recommend you check out the forums on reaperminiatures.com. They do have a Discord as well. I am on the Discord, and it is many of the same people partake in both the Discord as well as the forums, but I've noted that there are some forum members who are not on the Discord, and some Discord members who are not on the forums. So kind of interesting. So this young buck here, I don't know. I am debating whether I put him in hose or just bare legs. So if you go the medieval route, hose would be the better option. And I'm going to put him in bare legs. Just to push that youth aspect a little bit more. He is not protected if he gets captured by bandits, and or if he's out wandering the woods and gets lost. His parents are looking for adventurers to go and find him. He would be a little more exposed, a little more in need of danger. He or she. It's hard to tell, of course, because it's a kid. Could run it either way. Just a matter of how you present them at the table. One more on this handle. Ooh. I may just go with the grabbing the tops rather than shifting them out. And we've got the ones on the bottle to go. Nothing super exciting to see on the big screen. I mean, I am just literally popping this first coat on the miniatures, not super clean, because all of the other layers are going to go on top, and we will build them up. Buttercup. I just love to get my skin tones down first. Something I've been doing for years and years and years. So I always start skin deep and then work my way out. Didn't used to be that way when I was first starting out. I'd start with whatever color I was going to use most, so usually it was cloaks and tabards. And then do detail work on top of it. Alright, let's get to these bottles. So these bottles here are the super washes. I have not yet played with them, so I can't really talk about them. I was going to use some of them this weekend just to play around and see how they did, what I thought of them, where I would recommend using them, but I got some gloves on. But because I've got a couple of big projects that I need to finish up, I don't know if I will get there or not. I gotta say, the detail on these sculpts, just for villagers, right, NPCs, actually really, really good. Very distinct faces and haircuts, and I mean, while there's not a whole lot to them, you don't have 10 different types of armor pieces. They've got good folds in the fabric. Just a lot of good detail. So ReaperCon, of course, like I said, just got done. I had a fantastic time. I was a little concerned, so I taught 7 classes, or no, 6 classes, and I was a little concerned that I was overdoing the amount of classes that I was teaching, and also wanted to take a couple of classes. The primary classes that I wanted to take, I was not able to. They just sold out way too fast before I was able to get tickets for them. But I absolutely had a blast again teaching. I do like interacting with the people in class. I was really surprised at the talent that was in the classes. So all of my classes I really pegged as just beginner. And I have to say that on like the class for just super basic eyes, I did not have a single person in my class when they completed just their first set. We did them all together in class for their first set of eyes. There was not a single lazy eye or a cross eye or anything like that. They really did an amazing job of getting them highlighted directionally relevant, same sizes and shapes. I was really blown away. They did a fantastic job. So I don't believe that I had any real beginners who had never painted miniatures before. As I was talking to everybody, they just had struggles on some of the things like the eye alignment, size, and shape. So it really came down to more just fine-tuning what they were already doing. And at the end of the course, each of them walked away with 2 miniatures that they had done the eyes, and again, really did them well. I was really impressed with how well they did. That was probably the number one class that like blew me away up with how well they did. Was on the eyes. Many of the other classes were also really good. Nothing that like blew me away as much, but everybody did really well. Took the techniques and all of that and ran with it. So I was super happy. I got all of the handouts mailed out, so they received a paper copy of the handout in class for any class they took. And then told them that if they were interested in any of the other materials, just to give me their email, and I would send out all of the class handouts that I made for all the different classes I taught. And actually had a bunch of them that requested the handout, so I thought it would take a little bit longer. I didn't think I'd get to them until closer to the weekend, but got them all out today. So we'll give it a couple of days and just do a follow-up on Discord. Make sure that everybody who ordered them got them, or who wanted them got them. Because who knows if I got the email correct or not. And of course on their handout alone it does have an email to contact me, so if they don't see anything and we don't connect, they can always reach out to me as well. And get those reshipped out to the right address in case I messed up. About doing this mini, it reminds me why I hate army painting so much. So much. I should have gone through and done this with an airbrush and just knocked them all out rather than a brush. Or started their base coat this way. But that old hindsight, it's 2020. Looking forward, not so much. A little heavy on Grandpa there. 3 to go, and we've got our shadow base tone done. Maybe I should have done these all as drow so that I could be working on one of my other pieces that I've been doing. Just because, why not? No, process-wise it's completely different when you're doing just a down and dirty quick paint on NPCs like this versus a display piece, night and day difference. So it's always best not to do them at the same time. It's because you don't want to rush your display pieces if you get bored or challenged, or I'm using a little bit older brush that on a display piece would not do quite as well because the fibers are a little stiffer and they have a little bit of separation to them. For this first base coat on NPCs though, it's fine. It's not going to make a lick of difference. But on the display piece, it could make a world of difference. Little hair coming on this one here. Yeah, some interesting sculpts on these bad boys. Should be pretty good. If you do any gaming and you're utilizing things like dungeon tiles, grid maps, anything like that, being able to pop some of the other occupants of the spaces, there is something to be said for it. So I'm going to look forward to having these all done. Even as generic NPCs, it's going to be nice. That is the base coat. We'll go through and do a little bit of highlighting. Before I start popping in eyeballs. That way I can clean up with my mid-tone. Get in the habit of moving them from side to side as I work on them and get them done. Move them from one side to the next. This one's a baker. I believe. Sculpt makes me think of Bill Paxton. You ever have a miniature like that where it just you see a face in it? So whenever I bring this NPC in, it is going to be Bill Paxton. And then just try and determine what movie he'll be from. A lot of his roles are very different. Depending on the environment, how I choose to present that NPC will determine his interactions with the PCs. Ooh. Actually move down a little bit. finer brush as we go through and do these. Just for a little bit better brush control. And I know it's challenging. I hope your Tuesday night is going good. Actually, today is Wednesday night. Oh my gosh. It's the challenge with those conventions. They, especially on a long weekend, can throw your days off pretty good. I hope your Wednesday night is going really good. Getting closer to the weekend. If you're like me, you're working for the weekend. So it can't get here soon enough, in my opinion. You can see I did not put these miniatures on 1-inch gaming bases. Part of that is because I want them to take up smaller space as I pack them for the gaming table. But then also on the gaming table as well, I want them to be much more meek and mild and smaller than the PCs. So take up smaller room. And more prone to get squashed. Well, I'm going to be here for a while working on these paints. Probably going to end my stream just so I can play my music out loud, take out my AirPod, and have a little bit better dive in on my jams. Not to mention just make sure I'm nice and square on my placement. But if you do join me here, whether it's live or in the VOD, I do appreciate it. Don't hesitate to pop in a follow. I'm not looking for subscribers. I'm not here to gain a following or be monetized, I guess is the better way to say it. I don't mind a following, but this is not a revenue maker for me. If you do give me a follow, I'm hoping that we can build a good, strong community that can support each other, share in these hobbies that we love. So don't hesitate, give a follow, leave some comments, and let me know if there's certain things you'd like to see on streams. We used to do broadcasts every night of the week, as well as each day on the weekend, but management-wise, it's just so challenging to do. Committing that much is, it definitely is a challenge. Well, I'm not opposed to doing more streaming. I just want to make sure that it's bringing good quality content, something that people enjoy, and it's just a nice relaxing area where we can share in the hobbies we love together. I'm not always painting miniatures. Sometimes I'm doing maps, sometimes I'm talking about games, doing game prep, creating characters, talking about experiences of the past, present and future. So don't hesitate to join me. I'm going to keep going on these. Of course, you know the drill. Once they are done, they will be posted on my Instagram. probably as a collection for something this large. But be sure to check out my Instagram as well, and can't wait to see you on Saturday when we are live painting in the studio. Be sure to join me then. Have a great night.